Ethics has nothing to do with this, Councillor Nariak of Denaria growled at the glowing orb representing Councillor Shinera. Damn the sapient, and her grandstanding about ethics. More blood covered her hands than grazed his during his time with the Security Council, and he was currently directly responsible for the operations which snuffed out over 150,000 humans, with another 100,000 or more soon to come. And she wanted to argue about ethics and morality? When she herself had argued, less than a cycle ago, that the greater good would be served by halting food shipments to Ferron 5 to starve out dissidents? Over 1 million beings died in a sapient relief accident to get rid of no more than 100,000 agitators within that population. Ethics has everything to do with all actions we take, Nariak. We are sentient beings, and must always answer to ethics, she preached to him. Ethics and morality are luxuries for those blessed with lasting peace, he snapped back. With humanity, no such peace exists. Defend your position, she held back. You are well aware that my vote was provisional by my aid, as I was indisposed when this operation commenced. If proper considerations have not been taken, I will rescind my vote and demand an exit strategy. Indisposed while getting a life extension treatment, or another hideous cosmetic adjustment? Nariak thought, as the tentacles on his face raised in a rude gesture. Security Council rules for all shadow docket operations require communications limited to voice and text for operational security. Low bandwidth meetings can be hidden among the thousands taking place between aides, other government functionaries, and personal communications, where the high encryption vid calls with full data streams draw unwanted attention. While this proved a hindrance in reading the body language of the other members, occasionally it had useful aspects. He childishly held the rude gesture in place as he responded, "The issue is one of power and survival, not ethics," Nariak began explaining. Like the Chagothians and others in history we have dealt with vigorously, humanity represents an existential threat to our way of life. They do not come with threats or phase cannons pointed at us, as the Chagothians blatantly did, but that does not mitigate the danger they represent to the wider galaxy and our long-defined galactic order. This is a path taken for survival, not ethics. Explain, Shinera said simply. Humanity at its face is not remarkable on any front, he continued. Intelligence, physical characteristics, and other traits are well within galactic norms. In each individual area we can point to another sapient race that exceeds them, but that is not what makes them a danger to the galactic order. There are two things which make them dangerous above others we have encountered before. Military strength and a sizable population? Shinera mused, once again showing her ignorance and lack of foresight. No. Passion and adaptability, Nariak responded calmly. Their military might comes not from their past wars or current paranoia, but their passion. When humans believe in something, they pursue it with passion that often disregards their own safety. When they find a cause to back, they will often defend it to their dying breath, even if they are proven wrong. They believe passionately about their various factions and individual planets, to a point where they build tremendous armadas to defend their intellectual positions. This passion also drove them to build a planet-killing weapon, the exact nature of which is unknown, but likely within the scope of Denarian Starfire platforms. This speaks to military support, which I already noted as a strength, she noted, with irritation in her voice. How is passion such a peculiar trait? The Chagothians showed passion and dedicated themselves to military might and dominance? Human passion isn't limited to military pursuits. In addition to science, technology, and artistic endeavors, humans are allowed and sometimes even encouraged to explore paths which are already declared unworthy, considered fully explored, or are just downright fanciful. They are satisfied to be proven right or wrong, Nariak responded professionally, although he still desired to reach tentacles through the voice orb and strangle the woman. Where Chagothians specialized in war and dominance, and used genetic engineering to guarantee strength in those areas, humans find passion in all areas, and encourage the population to find passion in varied pursuits, rather than just focus on one as a species. Politically, how would this passion affect us? Shinera asked, now showing some genuine interest. The universe has shown a true constant. There are those who will have power and lead, and there are those who will not, he responded. Humans reject this proven notion and demand an equality of sapient rights and fairness of income distribution. They point to the numerous systems of government they passionately followed in the past, all of which they can point to the flaws and why current systems are supposedly vastly improved. They would, in time, seek to destroy our carefully constructed order, particularly given their current passionate defense of so-called sapient rights. And adaptability? Shannara asked. Throughout their history, they have explored numerous systems of government, Narraque stated firmly. Unlike other sapient species who fell into decline after one system or another collapsed, humanity has risen from the ashes. Not once, not twice, but dozens of times. Their recent shift away from war is nothing less than astounding. In less than 50 of their standard years, they have shifted from warring planets and sometimes opposing nations within a planetary system to a unified government across all of their systems. It must be recognized how stable this new system is in such a short period of time. Ultimately, this system can last for the next 1,000 years, or break apart in decades. Either way, humans will adapt and thrive. This means they will always be a threat. Any further thoughts? She asked. As individuals, they are adaptable. Many will shift between multiple jobs throughout their lives. In a second career, a human may not become an expert, but they will undoubtedly become proficient. An electrician can become a pilot. A baker can become a successful financial instrument trader. A day laborer with creativity can become a celebrated artist, while learning to also run a successful construction business. In this, humans are not limited by cultural norms or intellectual limitations seen in most species. Only once a human gets beyond 50 standard years is their ability to learn and adapt more limited, yet it remains superior to most other sapient races. Narraque outlined, before taking a moment to gather his thoughts. At their core, adaptability is expected. If something happens, they do not look for outside assistance first. They look within themselves to find solutions before seeking outside help. And this is what we find most dangerous about them, he said forcefully, to drive the point home. Indeed, this is one of our concerns in engaging them in open warfare. We are unsure how much of their populace will be willing and able to leave their current vocations and join a war effort. We are concerned the numbers could be significant. Narraque paused just a moment before delivering his emphatic conclusion. In summary, the inherent traits of passion and adaptability mean they are unlikely to accept any form of oversight or subjugation by the Galactic Council. At some point, they will challenge us for supremacy. Best to deal with them now before they are able to expand or build power. Full decimation would not be necessary, but it must be sufficient to keep their population a very small minority, so we might take advantage of them as a species, without threat to our continued way of life. Good. I am satisfied that sufficient consideration has been given to the matter, and I will concur that this is indeed a matter of survival over ethics, she conceded, and Narraque let go a quiet sigh of relief. But I have other concerns about ethics, which require addressing. How does the Council propose to justify our actions to the greater populace? Narraque groaned, as he realized the waste of valuable time and air was not yet at an end. Councillor Drennan cut in, before Narraque could respond. For the greater galaxy, the history of humans makes fighting them easily justifiable, they explained. Even the humans easily admit to the passions which make them so dangerous. After all, passionate but minor differences between human governments threw them into wars against one another. Their recent infighting only ended some 50 years ago, after passions pushed them to develop a planet-killing device. What would happen if the humans decide to turn their passions against the greater galaxy? How many planets will be destroyed by them? We are already developing propaganda based on their own historical records and publicly available information. I am forwarding the current list of useful events to review to everyone now, and would appreciate feedback from all parties. Narraque looked down as a text document arrived, and also noted how well Drennan played Shannara. It comes down to a matter of reframing the narrative. Here are our current thoughts on the matter, Drennan continued. The current piece, no more than a lie. They are overly passionate, which demands they build military might to defend their viewpoints. Once their strength is built, they historically no longer defend, but attempt to project power over others. This sparks wars with the ultimate goal to dominate. If successful, they use that power to impose their will and change the established order of the losers. They believe such actions set the conquered people free from previous delusions, of course conveniently overlooking their own. It should also be noted that before flexing military might, history reveals they often leverage trading imbalances or other methods of coercion. Recent trade deals with GC races can be exploited as examples of early moves against us. Frame matters in this way, and we expect no issues gathering support. Drennan paused, and Narrack took the opening. In a quick glance at your proposed list of events for propaganda, I feel there is an additional opportunity to explore, Narrack stated, and waited. Oh, and what might that be? Shinera asked skeptically. As the humans say, hook, line, and sinker, Narrack thought to himself. In my time as ambassador to the humans, I have been exposed to occasional instances of anti-alien demonstrations, Narrack continued calmly. Granted, these are a very small minority of the human population, but their antics are well documented. We can leverage this to showcase the danger humans present to the greater galaxy. Cast doubts on the peacefulness of their leaders behind closed doors. Imply their leadership isn't holding to peaceful aims, unlike the Galactic Council, which has over 1,000 of their years of peaceful existence, disturbed only by warmongers like Chagothians. Well, let's search out those archives on the human datanets, and see if we can find a few poster children for our propaganda, Shinera responded. With that, I believe we'll have things well in hand on answering ethical concerns. This brings up an interesting point, Drennan said thoughtfully. We were already planning on altering our propaganda to aim it at humans as well. Testing indicates we may be able to encourage a vocal minority of humans to support our cause. But as you say, current plans lack poster children. I will assign free aides immediately to pass the data and forward the results for your consideration, Shinera. Current projections on existing propaganda? Shinera asked, which Narrack actually found insightful, rather than the normal ignorance he expected of her. Initial testing indicates a likely 60% favorable sentiment among our citizens, rising once we are able to assert military dominance and disseminate appropriately tailored information, Drennan answered quickly. Among humans, we expect to build 3 to 5% support, without your suggested poster children. Sufficient to be vocal and problematic. We will recalculate once suitable candidates are discovered. Councillor Fashek, what's the word on the military side? Terran data ingestion confirms Narriak's previous observations, the shrill voice of Fashek answered. Their former military starship production platforms are repeatedly discussed as removed from service or mothballed and should not be considered an immediate hidden threat. If reactivated immediately, the platforms and ships they could produce are well out of date technologically. It would require a refit of 1 to 3 Terran cycles to update and begin assembly of strategically relevant assets. We have operational first strike advantage for the foreseeable future, barring any unexpected developments. Here are our current conclusions. We continue to concur with the plans to use Chagothians to decimate 2 more human colonies to discourage Terran expansion. We continue to concur with shipyard construction and personnel training programs underway, which are on schedule to have our forces ready to attack in less than 1 Terran cycle. We concur with the plans to leak documents to the Terrans, indicating a wider Chagothian effort against humanity is underway to focus their military efforts away from us and limit their desire for a full military build-up. Given recent concerns voiced to the Galactic Council by humanity, we only question whether such efforts should be done after the current human colony is destroyed, or after the 5th and final attack. I can confirm the Chagothians have attacked the 4th colony earlier today, in accordance with their contract, so consideration to Councillor Fashek's concern should be given prompt consideration, Fleet Commander Arathia said sternly. Noted, Commander. Any known threats to our efforts? The High Chancellor's voice called out. Only the obvious, which was originally discussed. Operational security and plausible deniability are paramount, Narrack responded. We need to maintain the secrecy of our involvement in the Chagothian attacks and our pre-war preparations. Discovery of our direct involvement would undercut all efforts, immediately turn humanity against us, and likely poison some of our own citizens. Luckily, the humans are still very open and receptive to my delegation, and see Denarians as close allies. They currently believe my suggestion that the Security Council is being outwardly unhelpful, but behind the scenes, is desperately attempting to discover who gave the Jagothians technology disruptors. They are unaware that the colony attacks and the technology disruption to cover all tracks are separate events. I see no immediate difficulties continuing to lead them in desirable directions.
Very well. Unless there are any other concerns on this topic which require immediate discussion, we will move on to the Lucarian matter, the High Chancellor stated with authority. Expect to dedicate the next Shadow Docket meeting entirely to the Terran issue, to answer Councillor Fashek's concerns and begin strategic pre-deployments. Any objections or concerns?
Neriak touched agreement on his voting pad, and noted that the decision to move on was unanimous. They would be spared any future foolishness from Shannara.
Before we conclude this topic, a few additional preparations will be required for our next discussion, the High Chancellor said, before their tone shifted to one of command. Councillor Neriak, in addition to continuing to work directly with Terran officials, we will need a report estimating an appropriate number of humans to allow to survive the coming conflict. Councillor Drennan, we will require an initial recommendation on what resources will be necessary for relocation and re-education of humans per 10,000 individuals. Please include recommended ages and biological sexes to assist Councillor Fashek in developing military action plans. Moving on, let us discuss the blasted Lucarians and what troubles they're causing now. Councillor Narkis, what's the current situation?